Welcome to Dialogue. Okay, Dialogue is a program where we try to talk to subject matter experts. We pick up various subjects, speak to the experts. We do not debate, we do not fight, we do not have voice matches and all that. All that we don't do. What we do is we try to understand people's opinion, people's view, especially people who are good in that subject, and then try to form our own opinion. So that's what Dialogue is all about. And today I'm going to talk about a very interesting topic, and that's 2024 elections. 2024 elections looks very different this time. ED, IT, raids, arrests. Most of the oppositions are either scared that they will get raided tomorrow, or they are already behind bars. So a lot of them are in that particular situation. Now, with all this happening, how is 2024 going to happen? How is 2024 election going to look? That's one end of the story. The second end of the story is, with all this, opposition seems to be not coming together. They are not coming together. Possibly they are scared to come together, or they are not coming together is because they still want to kind of have their own agendas and so on and so forth. So let's talk to two experts, Anand Vardhan, managing editor of The Public, and Amitabh Tiwari, strategist, political strategist, commentator. Let's talk to these two gentlemen and let's figure out how exactly is 2024 going to look. Let's get into the show. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me for my show. And with your permission, Singh Saab, can I start the questioning with Amitabh? And Amitabh, I want to ask you, how do you see 2024 Lok Sabha election?
See, 2024 Lok Sabha election is still more than a year away. The issues are more or less formed up, but we can have more issues as we approach nearer to the elections. Like we had a Balakot issue, which became the primary issue in the 2019 elections. If you see all the surveys or the mood of the nations, they show BJP ahead. However, the key aspect of those surveys is if the elections are held today. And we know that that is not going to happen. Correct. So there is 400 days, which the PM calls is a very, very long time in election. 2 weeks is enough to turn the tables. Now, the first election for BJP was as an opposition party riding on the anti-incumbency against the Congress party. There was a lot of corruption scandals, and BJP rode primarily on that coming to power. The second was, I would say, performance plus a promise to implement some of the long-term pending promises or ideological issues of the Bharatiya Janata Party. Now, the third election, since some of those have been implemented, is going to be different, is going to be trickier. As to in the third election, what will be the narrative? What is the agenda with which the BJP is going to the voters and ask for votes? That's going to be the key. It is going to be different from 2014 and 19. And I think there, BJP has already started talking about this Amrit Kal and 100 years of independence. So there, I think BJP's plan is to present to the voter a vision or a roadmap of India, which will take India to, let's say, number one position globally by 2047 or top three positions by 2047, and how it has the credibility and it has the track record behind it to implement that roadmap, and how the opposition lacks any credible leader of Modi's charisma to challenge on this BJP.
Singh Saab, like Amitabh said, normally elections are fought over a proposition. Elections are fought by strengthening the political party and talking about the achievements and talking about what they plan to do. Correct. This time around, election looks very different. This time around, other than strengthening oneself, There is more about weakening the others. Most of the opposition leaders are being put behind bars, raids, investigation. How do you see this? So, and how do you therefore see 2024?
Thanks so much, Sujit ji, and thank you, Amitabh ji, for joining with me on this show. I must start with this. The way I am looking at 2024, I will take it that the picture will be much more clearer after the Karnataka election, because Karnataka election, in my view, is going to decide the way the opposition is going to handle the entire election, the way the opposition unity, so-called opposition unity, or something will behave. And it is by end of this month they should come out with the dates. So it is another 2 months time, which will decide that how the country is going for 2024 elections, because that is important. Something what is happening and what I can feel is today somehow there is a resentment, there is an anti-incumbency against the BJP government or Modi government. I'm talking of the central government. And I will also say that I'm talking to a lot of people. You are talking to a lot of people. We are seeing the type of feedback which we are getting. On one hand, people are angry with few people are angry with certain policies of the government, but on the other hand, there is a sizable section which also feels that Congress is not doing enough, which Congress as an opposition space should do. People have their and what is happening. I see there is a iota of hope as far as Congress is concerned. At least from Bharat Jodo Yatra and after Bharat Jodo Yatra, people are now taking Rahul Gandhi and Congress as a party more seriously, and they are in a position to say that we are going to be the main opposition, and any opposition unit has to be around us. I mean, we are going to be the critical mass. Having said that, from the Congress perspective, I have asked on many occasions, on many TV debates, on many these social media debates, I have asked many people. I have yet to to get an answer, because people talk of opposition unity. You tell me, other than UP and West Bengal, which is the state where Congress needs something extra to do that opposition unity? As far as Congress is concerned, Bihar, Jharkhand, they have a Mahagadbandhan with JDU, RJD, all these people around. I mean, communists, everyone around. Then they have Maharashtra Vikas Aghadi as far as Maharashtra is concerned. Then they have DMK. I mean, they have a Gadbandhan in Tamil Nadu. They have a Gopkar agreement in Jammu Kashmir. They have some agreement in Tripura with the CPM. What I'm trying to say is they have these arrangements everywhere. Now there are 3 or 4 people who are shouting from the opposition side. There is that Congress is not coming forward. They are not doing the much needed thing which is to be done. Now KCR, as far as let us now talk of, there are 3 main leaders who are asking about it. KCR. Now Telangana Congress is going to be the main opposition party. So Congress is going to fight BRS. So there cannot be a understanding between Congress and KCR. That is for sure. Then comes Mr. Arvind Kejriwal. Now, Mr. Arvind Kejriwal has still to prove that he has certain critical mass with him, with 0.4% of votes, with 28 lakhs vote total in 2019, with zero presence in Lok Sabha. Arvind Kejriwal Sahab wants that everyone should rally around him. So it is not going to happen. It is not going to happen. And the third is Mamata Banerjee, out of which I feel that Mamata Banerjee, yes, she comes from a big state, and there and initially only I said West Bengal and UP. In West Bengal, it is only and only Mamata Banerjee who has to decide whether she wants to go with opposition or she just wants to go with solo. Because in my view, whether she goes solo or she goes with Congress and communists, she will be able to stop BJP where it is. I mean, they have 18 seats today. They will not cross 18 in whether she fights alone or she fights in a in a Gathbandhan. Now come to UP. Again, I say UP from number 1 to number 10, it is only and only Akhilesh Yadav who has to decide whether he wants to fight election alone or he wants to fight an election with BSP or it wants to fight election with Congress. Though both of them, Mamata Banerjee and Akhilesh, have given a public statement that they are going solo. Now, in my view, it is more of a pre-poll positioning they are trying to do it, so that at the time of seat bargaining or something they can have a better bargain. And it is, as Mr. Anirudh said, I also agree, it is too early to decide on seat to seat basis, because you see one more thing, and which is a deterrent to go for a larger official opposition unity. Now, today, the way BJP is handling ED, CBI, and everything, you see in the Manish Sisodia's case. Now, the baton has been handed over. CBI started the running. They have handed over the baton to ED. Now, this is going to, and this pattern we are seeing everywhere. This pattern we are seeing in Maharashtra. This pattern we are seeing in Bihar. This pattern we are seeing everywhere in the country. Now, suppose today they have a absolutely watertight opposition unity, and they announce that so and so will fight from here, so and so will fight. Now it becomes easier for BJP to target people. So it is, as a strategy also, I also feel why opposition should give them a specific target, that you target this person and then our opposition unity is gone. So I mean, that is what I feel. Yes.
I want to ask a different question to Amitabh. Amitabh, listen, when you're talking about Gathbandhan, when you're talking about united opposition, all of this is fine. All of these are election strategies and they are good, and they, like you rightly said, there is time for it. Today, I'm asking a different question. You see, the environment is not what the voters want. The environment is, how do we save ourselves from central agencies? How do you save ourselves from attack? That is now the core of formulating political strategies and political alliances. I want your comment on that. What is that going to be? How is that going to shape up by 2024? And will that mutate the elections as we've seen it all this while? That's the question.
See, the ED and CBI has been taking action against a lot of leaders. Now, let's compare this situation to a 1975 to 77 sort of a situation. During that situation, most of the top leaders, I mean, a much higher percentage than what it is currently, were behind the jail, and that provided a motive to those leaders to unite. And that also, in a way, made the people realize that, yes, Indira Gandhi ji is using, let's say, anti-democratic measures to come back to power. Now, this time, I would say, as of now yet, the level or the scale of the use of ED CBI on the top leaders of opposition is lower comparatively, one. Second, somehow it is not forcing the opposition to unite, because still the people are running in different directions. 8 parties write to the Prime Minister opposing Manish Sisodia's arrest. Congress doesn't write. KCR's daughter is holding a protest on women's reservation. Again, I think Congress was absent. So this is somehow not forcing the opposition to unite. Number 2. Number 3, corruption is an issue in India, but is also not an issue which determines election results. Corruption is an issue which has been in the top 5 issue from 1951 to 2019 elections. Mass leaders, big leaders, are not impacted by corruption allegations and by going to jail. I can give you an example. Despite Lalu Prasad Yadav going to jail, has RJD's vote share declined? Has RJD become a lesser powerful force in Bihar? The answer is no. So it could actually work to the contrary of what perhaps BJP strategists are trying to achieve, because going in jail or sending opposition leaders to jail unites the vote bank of that party. And if these are bigger leaders, like in 1977 we've seen, this could even backfire on the BJP, because the support could get consolidated. However, as Singh sir has said, opposition unity, again, I would say, is a much ado about nothing sort of an exercise. There is a law of diminishing marginal utility in economics. I don't recall the name of the professor. As per him, the index of opposition unity actually increased from 64% to 85% in 2019, and the tally of BJP went up from 282 to 303. So there is a limited application or utility of 100% opposition unity, because it again backfires, because people think that these parties have come together just before the elections without any common minimum program and ideology, just as an opportunistic alliance to oust the current government, and that also could backfire in a way, as it has in earlier years.
Singh Saab, what Amitabh said is very interesting. What he's saying is, he's saying that, listen, you know what, emergency proved that putting people behind bars, threatening opposition is only going to work for them. And what he's also saying that, listen, who told you that opposition unity is the answer for everything? I thought that was a very interesting point of view. Sir, your view on that?
I extend that logic, what Mr. Amitabh is telling. Not only emergency, even the Prime Minister has said that because of ED, the opposition, there is a unit. I mean, it is uniting the opposition much in a much better way. So it is Prime Minister is also account. Now, as far as Professor Amitabh, it is an interesting thing. By sending ED, by sending CBI, by sending all these things, income tax, in a way they are exposing themselves also. This was done in past also, but it was in a discreet manner. It was done. I mean, we all know the success story of Reliance. There's no doubt about it. But it was very discreetly. It was not open. Now, this is what is happening. Another interesting thing which Mr. Amitabh has said about the sympathy factor. Not only that, the Indian psyche is like that. The Indian psyche is like that. If something happens, then we say, "Arey, aisa nahi karna chahiye, arey chhod dena chahiye, arey kya hai?" All these we always tend to do that. Why RJD? Even today, whatever little bit I know about Maharashtra, Uddhav Thackeray is now riding on a sympathy wave. People feel that this is too much for him. And whether it is right or wrong is a separate thing. But we are talking about the narratives which is happening. Now, one more thing which is more important, somehow, because at times what happens when you start telling this, people say you are a spokesperson of a particular party. You are talking. Now, today I still feel that as far as the opposition agenda is concerned, it is only Rahul and Rahul Gandhi who is giving who has more clarity than other people. Because I will quote two instances. In the recent case, when K. Kavita, daughter of KCR, comes on at Jantar Mantar and start protesting for a woman reservation bill, so she never had time for last 3.5 years. What she was doing. So today, when the summons are there out from CBI or ED, then she remembers that there was a women reservation bill. Number one. Number two, the logic given by these 8 opposition parties, which Mr. Kejriwal and they have signed, that because Hemant Sharma and because Shubhendru Adhikari were let off, so now this is a very lame excuse. The quality of letter written by them and the drafting was bad. Because how you can say, because so and so has done this, so I should also be like, this cannot be a logic. A better version should have been, since Manish Sisodiya is going to jail, you arrest Hemant Sharma, you arrest Shubhendru Adhikari, you arrest so and so. How you can say because they are out, so you let so this is a lack of political thinking, and these are the places where I always feel that Arvind Kejriwal will always lack that. He is not a born politician. He lacks that, and he is not comfortable if people with longer political experience are around him. He was not comfortable with Anand Kumar. He was not comfortable with Prashant Bhushan. He was not comfortable with Yogendra Yadav. He was not comfortable with so many people. I mean, we have n number of people to talk on that. So what happens now, as far as the opposition, the issues are concerned, BJP wants certain issues. We will talk on that also. I mean, in the next round after. But I must tell you, more or less, Rahul Gandhi is setting the agenda for 2024 as Amitabh is also telling. He's talking of four things. He's talking of unemployment, berozgari, महंगाई, and then he talking of asamanata, inequality, and then he talks of the woman, how woman is unsafe in this regime, and he's building his entire thing around this. Now BJP somehow is driving this that acha aayega to Modi hi. Who is the alternative? Now these are the narratives which I still feel is set by BJP, and the electronic media is serving it to all of us, because in a parliamentary democracy, someone who is talking of who is your prime minister candidate is anti-democratic. It is how you can say that. I choose my MP, and then that MP will choose his leader. So it cannot be the other way around. So it is the basic spirit is against that. Having said that, I still feel that the position which BJP is trying to say that they are in a very commanding position, they are not so. They are disturbed, they are unsure, and you can see from the statement. And one last thing I will just add: the way Mr. Dhankar is being, I mean, all these people uh, who are in constitutional position, generally where people of this stature should not come in. What he has stopped yesterday. Mr. Dhankar was talking from a written statement. Now it was a written statement, so you cannot say it was on the just like flow of words and things like that. It was well thought of, his speech, and which Mr. Dhankar was addressing. Now he, in the end of his speech, he says, "Rise to the occasion, expose the forces, and neutralize them." Now, how a vice president of the country can tell people neutralize them? Is it right? Neutralize them is a very strong word, and it has a lot of meaning. Neutralizing someone. So I am still of the opinion that still there are 10 to 12 months. I mean, we are short of 10 to 12 months of elections. First Karnataka election, and then Rajasthan, Chhattisgarh, and Madhya Pradesh election will also decide that what role Congress is going to play. Because these four states, other than Congress, no other party has any role to play. Karnataka, JDS, yes. Janata Dal, S, where Mr. Devegowda has something to say, but otherwise no one has any role to play. So after Karnataka, these three elections will also decide what role, Congress is going to play.
Amitabh, I want to take what you said further. You spoke about ideology, and you spoke about Indian voters voting on ideology. Do voters vote on ideology now?
See, the ideology of various political parties also keeps on shifting and changing as the years pass by. And that's a very important question which you have brought into the focus. And I would like to enlarge on it. What is the voting consideration of a voter? What draws the voter to a booth? While there is a lot of focus in debates, in media, in print media, in electronic media on issues is not the only voting consideration of the voter. And that is why we see, or we realize that despite a price rise, inflation, unemployment, agri distress, and other issues, BJP continues to do well, because voter is not voting only on issues. Voter is voting today on the basis also of leadership, which is central and state leadership. So in states, it looks at state leader plus central leader, whereas at the national level, it looks at the national leadership. It is voting on the party symbol, and there is where your ideology comes into being. So there are voters, a section of voters, you could say almost a third of the voters of the entire universe, who vote on the basis of the party symbol, which I would link to ideology. So they would go and vote for the party irrespective of the issues. the leadership, whatever be the situation. So a hardcore RSS worker, a hardcore Congress worker, or a Seva Dal worker is going to vote for Congress, whoever is the candidate, and whether he or she is happy with the national leadership or not. In in normal circumstances, then comes the your uh, vision or the roadmap for the future or development. I mean, development is also talked about a lot in surveys. It is one of the topmost issues now. Whether development is an issue or is an issue in the sense it is backward looking, or is it a forward looking measure, that also we need to understand and debate. So it's a very complex process of issues, leadership, party symbol, development, vision, and now the Labharti factor or the beneficiary factor. See, what we are seeing is that while after COVID, a lot of people have moved into poverty, so their incomes have fallen. But we also need to appreciate is that with this free ration distribution, their expenditures also fall considerably, because for a poor man, the proportion of expenditure on household items, or rather ration, is fairly high compared to people like us. So they are getting this benefit, and in sort of a way, BJP is able to convince the voters through its very deepened WhatsApp network distribution. See, communication network is very, very important in today's era. So through its WhatsApp network, it is somehow able to communicate to the voters that these advantages they will lose if the BJP goes out of power. So voting is a one line just voting is an emotional decision. It is either apeksha, which is hope, or akrosh, which is anger. It is somewhere a balance between the two.
You see, if you were to identify one key factor, Akrosh versus Apeksha, okay, one key factor that will trigger or will bring about a voting pattern or will make a decision, what will that be? Will that be Apeksha or will that be Akrosh?
I would answer it in a very different manner. I would again throw a very interesting statistic. 1 out of 3 of every BJP voter, I mean 1/3 of BJP voter in 2019 said in a CSDS survey that they would not have voted for BJP if Modi was not the PM candidate. So BJP's vote share is 37%. If you remove 1/3, it becomes 25%. Correct? So BJP's core vote or ideology vote is 25%. Congress's worst vote is 20%. So there's not much gap. Correct? A 2.5% swing brings them equal. This 12% voter is what I call the swing voter or the neutral voter, which is not a very hardcore ideological voter of a party, and the emotion of apeksha or akrosh among these 12% of the voters who have been voting for BJP just because of Modi, whether they stay with Modi or because of these issues and this EDC, CBI, and any other personal reason, they decide to shift. So this swing voter, 12% voters, apeksha or akrosh, or rather, let's put it in the way: how do opposition parties create a hope among this 12% of the voter base, or try to take the akrosh to a level at which this voter decides that it is time to throw out this government.
Singh Saab, what is your opinion on what Amitabh just said? Akrosh or Apeksha?
Like, Akrosh is a driving force, because in recent Himachal Pradesh election we have seen that it was anger, a lot of things. I mean, I'm not going into the details, but it was primarily the moving factor was Akrosh. Today, what I feel is what Mr. Amitabh is telling, again, picking up from there, as he said that there were 37% voters of which BJP got. Still, I mean, one more thing I want to tell our audience, that these 8 parties who signed that letter which was sent by Mr. Arvind Kejriwal on the arrest of Mr. Manish Sisodiya, Trinamool Congress, Samajwadi Party, Shiv Sena, NCP, RJD, AAP, TRS, and National Conference together got 12.94% vote. They had 13% vote share of these 8 parties, and they had 63 seats among themselves. Congress had that 19.4, I mean, to be specific, 19.5%, but rounding out maybe 20, but you can round it off to 19%, 19-20% to vote. Now, Congress is still, in their worst days, was performing much better what these 8 parties together were doing. Now, these 8 parties want that leadership. Now, this is something where I feel that this is an issue which BJP is creating, that who is going to be the leader, who is going to be the leader. No, this is not an issue which oppositions are so keen to decide. Having said that, when you talk of these number of votes, please understand that BJP shows that they had a very broad majority. They had a majority of 303 only, which today getting 33 less seats on paper is very easy. Having said that, if Congress wants to become an alternative, then Congress has to perform well. There is no way that Congress takes a back seat and they are comfortable that whenever our time will come, hamara samay to aayega, people will get fed up with BJP and I will be get. This is not going to happen. Why I am telling this is because what I can feel and what I can gather what is happening. Rahul Gandhi is now talking on ideologies. Because what I feel is that he is bothered about 2024, but he's also bothered about the ideology part of it. Because suppose tomorrow, 2024, Congress becomes the second largest party and all these opposition parties come together and then they have an opposition government. Now, tell me one thing. You will find most of the faces which are there in BJP today, half of them will be on this side. I mean, there are professional.
Singh sir, one question I wanted to ask you. I'm sorry to interrupt you. You see, Amitabh answered your question right now. See, the concept of that there is no leader is not really created by Bharatiya Janata Party, because Amitabh's statistics very clearly says that 12% of Indian voters vote for Narendra Modi. So a clear leader has been defined and designed. So that's there. Now the point is that 12%, there is nobody who can compete that 12%, is what I think the lack of leadership is, isn't it?
Let me, if you're asking on those terms, let me answer it in those terms.
Please.
Where Mr. Modi was standing in 2019 with Balakot under his arm, is Modi ji standing there? Is he able to motivate and people feel more comfortable that Modi ji is there? Ghar mein ghus ke marenge and Balakot, Pulwama, all this has happened. Now, is Modi ji there? As far as I am concerned, I feel there might be one vote, but that he is less by one vote. There is no doubt about it. Number two, is Rahul Gandhi there what he was in 2019? What Rahul Gandhi was 2019, certainly he will get one vote more than what he got in 2019 as far as the leadership is concerned. So what I am trying to say is, these are things which cannot be estimated today. People somehow, when Modi ji talks in a way in Parliament, when Modi ji sends ED, I mean, when the government sends ED, CBI, when all these things is happening, people are also watching, and this is changing. You can sense the people around you. Look, ये कुछ ज़्यादा हो रहा है. ये कुछ ज़्यादा हो रहा है. Even the hardcore followers say ये कुछ ज़्यादा हो रहा है. Now, what I am trying to say is, these 12%, what has been identified as 12%, these are voters who can swing from here to there. Then there are regional parties. People are telling यार regional नहीं, ये तो अपना वहाँ पे कोई ठीक पार्टी होनी चाहिए. I never felt that Congress will get so much of response, honestly speaking. Today, people who are angry with Congress wants Congress to perform well. This is something very ironic. They are not angry because Congress is bad. They are angry because Congress is not doing anything. The majority of them. So what I feel is, Karnataka election, because with Mr. Khadge, it is going to decide what Mr. Khadge, how strong that leadership is. Somehow, Mr. Khadge, the way his body language, the way he's talking, the way he's giving his statements, we are seeing a new Khargeji.
Amitabh, I want to ask you from a statistic point of view. Has Bharat Jodo Abhiyan made a difference?
See, statistically, there has only been if you see a survey from Sea Voter, the mood of the nation, which shows that Rahul Gandhi's popularity has improved over the past year. Correct, but it's not perhaps still as high as he used to enjoy at the peak of his career. See, what does Bharat Jodo Yatra give Rahul Gandhi? See, BJP's charge has been that he has been born with a silver spoon, which is not his fault in a way, and he doesn't understand India. Correct. But when you walk through India and you meet people, you listen to people because you are fairly not giving speeches and holding rallies, you get to know the first hand problems, issues on the ground. That was the biggest, I would say, achievement of Bharat Jodo Yatra, that Rahul gets to know what India is actually. Correct. And then he should realize that probably raising Rafale, correct, or a phone tapping issue, Pegasus, does not make any sense because this does not affect the common man. And the issues of roti dal, घर मकान रोटी कपड़ा, ये सब issues हैं इंडिया के, तो वो his maturity in that sense increases. Correct. And somehow he has been surrounded also by people who have had education abroad, so they also lack this pulse of the ground. So that way he matures as a leader. And what happens is that we all know, you are much veteran politicians. MLAs, MPs mostly stay focused in the capital after the election. They rarely go to their constituencies. Most of them, I'm saying, they have appointed some of their relatives who take care of their constituencies, correct? And then they will go before the elections and seek for votes. What this will do, and if there is one more yatra, let's say from east to west, what this will do is what people will start asking: where is my MP? Where is my MLA? Correct. Because if an opposition leader is walking or rather traveling across the country, the party in power or the party in the representatives of the party in power are so-called missing from action. So that is one of the key things which will happen move forward. However, this could also make Rahul Gandhi arrogant. Let's say we all are humans. There have been in the past accusations by leaders who have left the party that Rahul does not listen to anybody. Because see, this success of this yatra can make anybody arrogant as well. So you might not then be open to feedback from your leaders and party workers. See, I have a very clear strategy is very important in elections. It's all about perceptions. Today, you are going outside and questioning that democracy is in danger in India. Correct. It is not, it is again a very debatable question. But over the years, nationalism has been instilled among us. It is the opium of the common man. It is happening across the world. Correct. Nationalism is something which the political parties and leaders exploit. As per a few research, 96% of Indians are very proud to be Indians. Correct. So at a time, going and doing a negative campaign probably again is not the correct thing to do. See, what Congress is missing today is that, see, India is the fifth largest democracy. It is a fact, correct? No, not democracy, economy, correct? It is a fact. Nobody can take that away from it. But but what Congress forgets is that Congress has a contribution in making India the fifth largest economy. We were ninth or tenth when India got independence. So Congress needs to claim its legacy. It needs to claim its share of the pie from whatever India is today. But by criticizing, what you are perhaps doing is that you are challenging that the fact itself that India is the fifth largest economy probably is not true, or it is, but there are issues. You understand? There's a difference. You say that India is the fifth largest, and it is our contribution of 50 years of power that India has become the fifth largest. Correct. There is a lot of Congress work which has gone into making India. So I think some sort of a positive campaign is required rather than a very negative campaign.
Singh Saab, all the same. So quickly, I want to ask you. See, very interesting point he said is rather. See, we are the fifth largest economy, and the fact remains that Congress has contributed humongously for us to be the fifth largest economy. If it wasn't for PV Narasimha Rao and Manmohan Singh, we wouldn't have been talking about it like this today. So now the fact is, what Amitabh says is, I believe is from a advertising perspective, I think it's a very, very valid point. That listen, you know what? You have never taken the credit of being the fifth largest. You are trying to find fault of India being the fifth largest. That's a very valid point. How do you react to this, Singh Saab?
No, I'm very clear on that. As far as Congress is concerned, whether it is negativity or it is a negative campaign with BJP, look, whatever campaign BJP launches, it is never on positive. पुलवामा घुस के मारेंगे हिंदू मुस्लिम इंडिया पाकिस्तान हिंदी all this is they have a negative. Now what I am trying to say is जो अमिताभ साहब ने कहा ना कि कांग्रेस raised issues like Rafale, Congress raised issues like Pegasus, which has no meaning for a common man. आप Pegasus करें Rafale, but somehow I feel there is a Hindi comic by the name of Vikram or Vetal. Now, in that Vikram or Vetal always tells him a story, and then he comes and he's on his shoulder. He wants to shrug him off, he again tells him a story, he again comes back on his shoulder. Adani is going to be that Vikram and Vetal for BJP because anyone who is watching Adani, number one, Adani is not out of crisis. People feel that Adani ka share bahut bada, they are doing very well. Adani is in a deep crisis. We will not discuss it, but Adani is in a deep crisis, number one. And Adani is something where it is affecting a common man also. Now, my LIC, my SBI, my Bank of Baroda deposits are being affected because of Adani. And that proximity which somehow, I don't know, I mean, why they have done this, God only knows. The proximity between Modi Sahab and Adani is established. No one has to establish it. There is no need of anyone to tell कि नहीं ये दोनों लोग एक हैं, because the way the entire BJP is defending and the people know it is part of that. Now Adani is also going to be a factor in 2024 elections, which they don't want to be, but Adani is going to be, as far as the Kisans are concerned, as far as anyone is concerned.
I just want to ask you, both you gentlemen, I want to divide this into two halves. First is the Karnataka MP Chhattisgarh elections. And the Lok Sabha elections. What do you see the next 6 months, Singh Saab, quickly?
I see as far as there are 4 elections which only Congress has to prove it. There is no opposition. It is only Congress versus BJP, Karnataka, Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan. If Congress comes up with something which is today, Congress has only 6 MPs from these states. BJP has 86 MPs out of 93 seats. Now, if Congress today is able to win Karnataka, it will be a big booster for Congress, and then their road to 2024 will be easier. I will not say it will be easier. And then I find that Congress as a main opposition party around whom all the opposition party will come around. I predict in Karnataka, Rajasthan, as far as today is concerned, it is going to be BJP who is going to do better. Chhattisgarh, Congress is going to come back. Madhya Pradesh, it is not 50-50, it is advantage Congress, but it is still 50-50.
Amitabh, what's your take on this? First 6 months, next 6 months, four states.
Yes. Next 6 months, as Singhji is saying, are 4 crucial elections. It is very crucial for Congress because Congress is in power in 2 of them, and those are the only states in which Congress is in power. So it runs the risk of going into 2024 without any government in any state also. Rajasthan has a trend, correct? So if the trend is maintained, then probably you could loot Rajasthan. Chhattisgarh, they are doing well probably compared to other states because the opposition is not very strong there after Raman Singh has moved. However, if we remember all these three states, the Congress won in 2018, just 3 months before the elections, and they could not win even 2 or 3 seats in the Lok Sabha elections, which the BJP swept. So there is not a very direct correlation between a state election and a national election. Of course, it creates the perception, it creates the mahal, it creates a hawa. The next 6 months, we need to watch out for the level of rainfall. I keep on harping on this. Farmers is the largest vote bank. It is the mood of the farmer. In which mood is he going into the elections? In a happy mood, good rainfall, good harvest, good MSP, or a bad mood, lower rainfall, lower crops, lower insurance, losses? That is going to be a very, very key determinant of these four, let's say, remove because Karnataka is now only 1 or 2 of the three state elections and the national election.
Amitabh, just to add a question there. See, second largest agricultural state is Uttar Pradesh. Farmers were not very happy when Uttar Pradesh election happened. What really happened there then?
See, again, I mean, it is a combination of farmers not being happy plus the track record of the government plus caste based alliances. See, whenever we talk of opposition unity, we assume that 2 plus 2 will be 4. In any alliance, when let's say there the RLD and the Samajwadi Party join hands together, when any alliance happens, it will either be 2 plus 2 is 5 or 2 plus 2 is 3, because there are vote blocks which get antagonized because of these alliances. And there, the Jat community had a history with the MY core vote block of the Samajwadi Party, and that is why we saw that even in Western UP, the BJP did well because caste does play a role in Indian politics, and more so in the North Indian politics.
Singh Saab, the next year, that is the 2024, how do you predict it loosely?
Like I said, I mean, the Karnataka election will majorly will decide what is going to happen.
Assuming that the Karnataka election goes Congress way, which is what is looking currently. Things will change, of course, but as of now, it looks Congress way. What happens then?
Then I will say that it will be advantage Congress. I will not say they are going to form the government, but it will be advantage Congress, disadvantage BJP, and you should be prepared for more CBI raids, more ED raids, more IT raids, more. All these will come in full flow. All these raids will start. I mean, there is absolutely no doubt on that.
Amitabh.
See, 2024 is a insan versus Bhagwan election. Congress is projecting Rahul Gandhi as an insan, a common man. He doesn't know everything. He can make mistakes, versus a Bhagwan who can never make mistakes. Even if he makes mistakes, then it is pinpointed or the responsibility is passed on to his ministers or the second rank leaders. Now, there are voters who would prefer an insan, I mean, just like you and me, sitting on the chair. But there is also a large section of voter, and this is across the world. People look for hope in their leaders. People want to have leaders who are strong, who can solve their problems, who have answers to all these questions. So that's a sort of a question to ponder. And for the Congress, somehow it still feels that Rahul Gandhi or the Congress strategists still have in mind who after Modi. So they are preparing for a longer battle with the BJP and not for an immediate term battle. Singh ji said or gave the example of Himachal. See, ladenge to jeetenge. If Congress fights, it is in a chance to win. But if it doesn't fight, let's say example is Nagaland. I mean, parties like JDU and LJP are winning seats, and Congress does not win even a single seat. So, ladenge to jeetenge is the mantra for Congress. It has to run a positive campaign. The next 6 months, there has to be something a serious decline in the popularity of Modi due to some decisions which go wrong, or God forbid there is a bad monsoon and the farmers are happy, not happy with the compensation. So a lot of factors, a lot of moving parts are still there. That 12% swing voter still holds the key because it is not an ideological voter, and it could swing to either way depending upon how the narratives and the agenda shape up.
Thank you so much, Singh Saab. Amitabh, thank you so much for joining me.